These. Okay, so here we are. We've got Daybreak and Delilah on a team on their own subcontinent, sub-solar system, planet named Ziza, my bad. Do you need help on recapping the very first day, or do you got this, James? I'm giving it to you because you were the only one there for the first two. So.
Yeah. I think I pretty much remember what happened.
Okay.
So it is the Sorcerer Supreme tournament, King of the Hill situation. Delilah and Daybreak got their own little universe, and we were like, how can we make this super good? And we basically, I think for the first part, we basically just like hoboed around our world. We're just like having a bit of fun, and then some more serious stuff started happening, and it was like, uh-oh.
And then we started getting involved in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, and it had mixed results.
Yeah, the first day you face off with a demon horde that invaded your realm. During that time, Delilah was taking sort of a light touch approach, but was still hoboing around, as James put it. Started teaching people some magic. Meanwhile, Daybreak created a warrior society that worshipped her as a goddess and encouraged that. And they formed a group called the Berserkers of the Sun Goddess. If you look at the props page, you can go up to Ziza to see the kind of developments of the world as it went on by. Time went through pretty quickly. So there we got James sent the first screenshot, right? Shows how spread apart the whole place is. Okay, and that's a little ways up on the prop page. Then we go down. You can see the next update where the demon results and some other stuff. The bad black magic happened. Resulted in mass uninhabitation of large sections of your world.
We don't need to live there. It's fine. It's good.
Then the mages consolidated into a giant Eastern Empire, whereas you guys kind of split the world in half, right? Western half was Daybreak, Eastern half was Delilah. And so then you got the Diocese of Nertenia, which was the main power, and Daybreak moved over there for a little bit and created paladins there that worshipped her again after being displeased with the results of her berserkers. James, you got more to chime in on that one?
So then we had the next challenge come up, where a giant eldritch space tentacle attacked our universe. So we went up, and to deal with that, we had a bit of a fight. We came out on top. The guys we brought with us, Daybreak, we brought like a small army of guys to like help us.
Okay.
They did not do well.
Okay.
They did really badly, actually.
We're calling the herd.
They mostly died, I believe.
Ouch. Okay.
There was some significant casualties, yes. I don't believe they mostly died, though. I think you mostly survived.
Yeah. But their effectiveness was not.
Delilah was not pleased.
Which caused, in the aftermath, Delilah basically taking the opinion that these guys shouldn't really be involved in this.
Yeah, and this was the second. This was the second session we played. Day 3 is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's talking about.
Yeah. Daybreak, that we should have even less of a touch on the world and just let them do their thing as we try to defend the universe. And then Jacob, as Daybreak, made the counter argument that they should have the option, then the freedom to make that choice themselves.
Wow, you actually played her the way I would have. I'm shocked.
I do a good job playing you, I think.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Wyvern, I was a perfect Wyvern.
No, even Jimmy will tell you you sucked at being Wyvern.
I don't think so, but I think Jimmy would disagree with that assessment. James doesn't. I know that.
I will say the day that Wyvern died in the Hellfire, even Jimmy was like, nope, she wouldn't have done that. She would not have done that, and we were fighting with you tooth and nail. You're just more stubborn than both of us together.
I think Jimmy just didn't want Wyvern to be killed at that point because he knew it would upset you. But that's not important.
Anyway. But no, actually, Daybreak would have said that. She definitely would have said that they should have the option.
Yeah. So then what ended up happening is Delilah took a complete step back from the world and is now focusing on how to protect it, separate from whatever. And to do that and to create some other powers, she just made some other dimensions that mortals could tap into for power. This is her way of giving them the option to do stuff.
And she also had the idea that she could tap the dimensional entities to fight, right? It was a different strategy, one that didn't involve her wasting her time on mortals, really.
So is this kind of like a test of what the actual Sorcerer Supreme needs to be, where it's not, you can't really focus on one area, it's you have to be willing to sacrifice one dimension to protect the other ones? Is that kind of what this is about?
This is where we're getting into an interesting thing, because I'll actually update you on what the others have been doing.
Well, before that, let me update you on what you've been doing, Daybreak. Right? That he didn't get to. So while he did that, you went onto the planet and took over more, actually, and you used your hyper invention, rarely used but useful ability of Daybreak's.
I thought that was Wyvern's power.
No.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
No, Wyvern was just smart. She was just smart. So, Daybreak, you started to transfer technology to them, bringing them up into the almost like the Industrial Revolution era, and you enforced a martial culture, is what I wrote. So you started to emphasize these martial virtues, values, you could call them, and militarized societies.
Okay.
Not like a I mean, it's sort of dictatorship because you're the god queen of the whole planet. But you've let them all have their own autonomy and they run their own internal power places. The countries are still the same, but they know that if they displease you, you're gonna zap them with light rays.
Okay. Wow. All right.
I don't think I'm exaggerating. I don't think Daybreak's murdering people, right? But
I hope not.
yeah, but you probably arrest him or something, or have somebody put him down. I don't know. You can figure that out on your own. I'm just saying that Daybreak took a very active role. She's brought the technology up and is getting people trained up to be like warriors. Which I felt like fit you pretty well. One, because you have the hyper invention ability, and two, because you have this sort of pseudo Viking theme going on. So
I think that would work. I think it would work well.
And you were also doing all that previously, the martial stuff. So, anyways, you were going to tell us what Aaron did.
Yeah. Before we get into what the current situation for us is, I'll give you an update. So as far as what lesson all the sorcerers are learning from these has appeared to be wildly different. Delilah has learned that maybe she should, this is actually important to step away from things. Aaron has been, like, messing around. It's gone so wrong. It's gone so wrong.
Yes, it went very bad for him.
Do you remember that they got Autopsy stuck in a dimension?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's still a thing.
He's still stuck there?
Yeah.
And he's,
Autopsy.
spoiler alert,
got turned.
he's still stuck there after the last session they played.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And he got briefly transformed into a starfish.
A starfish?
That's so when the tentacle monster thing attacked, it had a number of abilities. One of which was to transform people. It used it. Autopsy rolled a white. Got transformed into a starfish. It was permanent.
I mean, even after this whole thing is done, he's still going to be a starfish?
Well, no, he was a starfish. It did not go away when they destroyed the monster. It was permanent. So they
to cure this. Aaron went to his top wizards and was like, because I don't really know about a lot of transformation magic, so I want to confirm with you guys what we can do about it. And Jacob asked this question, which I was like, alarm bells, which was, how do you present yourself to these people? And Aaron was like, I just present them to, like, I'm a person as well, we're
he was humble.
peers and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, this caused a wizard to perceive Aaron as undeserving of his universal power.
Yeah.
Wasn't she the one that he was like bringing up? And
No,
she was, like,
that person became
quiet?
a dimensional entity. They've went a little crazy, but that's not. They're still on the good side.
Oh wow.
Yes, That one is
dangerous.
Ileana Watterson, and she lives in the cube dimension now. Is what it's called.
Oh wow.
Oh, sorry, cube world.
Weird.
Anyways.
So this wizard then created the Infinity Stones of Aaron's universe, and trapped Aaron and took all of his powers.
Oh no.
Yeah, Aaron also visited his dimension's heaven realm and talked to the sun god who was the ruler there, Falskro, who said, nah, we kind of got the feeling this is not very permanent and we just want to live our lives. Please don't ask us to help. So, you got a no there. You got a hard no. And then he got his power stolen.
Aaron.
So I want you to take a guess. Aaron is like, he's just like a normal human now. He doesn't have any of the god powers. What do you think the worst thing that could happen would be at this right moment?
That he doesn't have any god, other than like another like massive incursion, or he.
Yeah, well, take a guess. What could
I
possibly be the worst thing?
That he tried to get his powers back some other way and ended up like cursing himself.
That's a good guess. It sounds like something he would do. Now, what happened was we all got an announcement because the next part of the challenge has begun, where
Okay.
Sorcerers from other universes can come visit you now.
Rebecca muted, but it was still funny.
Sorry, Phoenix just woke up.
Yeah.
No worries.
Go ahead and talk. I just have to get him some milk because Robbie had to run out to the store. So.
Go for it.
But so.
Yeah.
That's oh my god, poor Aaron.
That was day 4. The beginning of day 4, the announcement came through. Other sorcerers can come visit. And you could continue. I'm sure she can hear us.
Yeah, so for us, we had a visit from the Russian team.
Yeah.
What are they?
The Russian nationalists.
What are they called? The Superior?
Supreme Soviets. But it was just 2 of them.
Soviets, yes. They gave us a bit of... They gave us a knuckling, I'll be honest. It was tough.
Yeah, you guys faced off with Phantasma and Red Guardian.
Yes. You basically had a fight with Red Guardian because he's kind of like a Captain America guy, so you were having kind of a shield off with him.
And it was going pretty well for you, but you did go berserk.
As she's known to do on occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after you went berserk, they fled. Is that? Yeah. Both of them fled, but there are some questions of whether they actually fled because they seem to have just disappeared.
Yeah, and their mage, who is a slightly better mage than I am, as a master of illusions, so it's kind of a problem.
It may feel like she's a better mage than you, but I think it's pretty close, honestly. If it doesn't feel that way,
Well, it's more what's holding Delilah back is the fact that she can't use some of her nastiest spells because there's like there's some reason she can't use certain spells.
yeah. Well, you don't want to really use the chaos spells, anyways.
Yeah.
I assume.
Yes, we haven't had any Delilah moments, fortunately.
But you're a master of order magic.
Yes. So I
Okay.
do technically have like all the spells. The ones I know are the better rank.
Yeah. So yeah, she's what's your psyche?
My psyche, I think that's what's holding her back. Is her psyche isn't as high as like all of these veteran. It's only amazing.
So I think that puts you on the low end of the masters here, but you are Squadron Supreme.
I think that's like the big difference of what's holding Delilah back from becoming a really great mage. Is just her psyche's not up in the upper echelons.
Well, is that all that makes a mage? I mean, doesn't heart and your endurance and things like that, don't any of those come into play?
No, it's mostly psyche.
That's one-dimensional.
Mages typically are. Anyway, so that's what happened to us. We got a bit of a rumbling, and you're berserk at the moment, so this is going to open.
Oh, I'm still berserking. Okay. Yeah, she's the best way that's ever been handled is somebody locked her in a box for 4 days.
So, and we did roll off to see who would visit each of us.
Yes.
Who do you bet visited Aaron while he had no powers?
Ankara.
It was. He rolled, and
Oh.
it was unbelievable.
Wow.
So he almost died.
Oh, wow.
It didn't go too bad for him though, right? I mean, right?
He got saved out of a combination of Ankara gloating for a couple of rounds.
Uh-huh.
And, like, the guy who had taken the powers, the Affinity Stones, he got, like, scared of Ankara, but then he came back and was like, no, I'm not scared of you, I'll fight you. Shot her into space, and Ankara was like, what is this thing attacking me? And then shot the moon at him and instantly killed him.
Yeah, he died.
Wow.
And then, but upon killing him, Aaron got his powers back, so they managed to turn it around, but it was like...
I'm sorry, she may be bad and all that, but I have mad respect for Ankara. I really do.
Got saved by the bad guy.
Yeah, Aaron got saved by his own bad guy. It was very funny.
That is hilarious.
So then, meanwhile, so the lesson Aaron learned, I don't know what that lesson was that he was learning so far, that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. They got pretty badly beat up, but Autopsy and Ileana Watterson were able to defeat.
Oh yeah,
We're able
Ankara,
to.
you know, everyone's got a bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Ankara has a zombie Hulk.
Oh,
Yeah, from the future.
wow. Wow.
You got him from the future.
That's
Um,
insane.
There were some crazy adventures you guys never got to hear about because that game did not. Because that game ended with a sputter right when you guys invaded King's realm to team up with him against Ankara.
Aggro had some wild time adventures. They were nuts.
Yeah, this is maybe my greatest disappointment over that whole thing.
Mine too. I really wanted to know what would have happened there.
I know, and we had to just write it off. It was such a shame.
And then the other thing that happened with Pangea.
Yeah, Pangea had a wild time.
Pangea's had a wild ass time because it's going super well for him.
Yeah.
His buddy, the Atlantean mage, is just like, why don't we just magic up our people? Oh look, we've got all these random gods who aren't doing anything. Let's take them, gotta split them apart, put them into our people. There we go, super people.
Oh wow.
And they got visited by like Clea, so they were just having a nice like chat, like maybe we help each other and stuff. So he was having a really relaxing time while the rest of us were getting our ass kicked.
Yeah, so his people are like all like super demigods. There's not very many of them, right? Because his mage, Karnaxa, has like caused apocalypse scale end of world stuff, right? Over and over. And there's so many people dead there. And he has done so many like horrible things to these poor inhabitants.
But it's working. It's so funny.
But it's working out for him. And he's like,
they like flew up and punched the tentacle, and it like actually worked. Those demigod things. It was like.
And the other thing is that like it's all been like he's like, you don't have to feel bad for them. They're not real. Their suffering is fake.
Oh, wow. What a great way to look at things.
So, that's what's going on with them.
That basically brings you up to speed. You're currently berserk. I'm going to try to calm you down, and we've maybe got Soviets in our universe somewhere hiding.
That's going to be awesome.
And Delilah's pretty beat up, right?
I'm absolutely thrashed. I have 10 hit health left.
Okay. And then, additionally to all of that, Aaron and Autopsy had their own little adventure. Last time without you guys. They focused on defense. And they decided, Aaron decided to put some distance between him and the mages of his world.
I wonder why.
And he decided to help the guys who helped him get his powers back, the apprentices and everything. And he gave him some abilities and like allowed them to access his powers like he was a dimensional entity, which he is. And then, but only for a limited period of time because he didn't want him to do anything bad. But his whole world went into complete anarchy. Because remember, his world had devolved into two competing power blocks: the mages versus the Raven Guard, who were Autopsy's entourage, right? And the mages were like trying to get whole world autocracy, and the Raven Guard were like liberty focused patriot. Whatever you want to call them, like freedom or death. And they're like Autopsy had given them the thing of like stopping the mages from overreaching. Was their like rule. So it developed over the decades into this idea that the mages are evil, and these guys are the underground resistance fighters, right? And so they were. If you look at the props page. You'll see their map, which was like right there. It's Menungane, and the Asgardian theocracy. But when all the major mages that were on the side of Aaron died, and then Aaron lost his superpowers and his god powers, it really caused some rifts in there. And then the Raven Guard people, some of them were told that by Autopsy directly that, hey, we got to work with Aaron. He's a good guy. We're on his side. And they're like, that's not what you've been saying, or this is, what is this? This is a trick or whatever. And then he finally verified it, and so the Ravens Guard broke apart too. And so they are having like these wars of religion break out. And if you look down at the bottom map, you'll see that it's devolved into a lot of minor countries starting to break out as his whole world develops into a mass worldwide civil war with like magic and raven people and shadow monsters fighting it out. His world is in anarchy. The only reason the Argasian theocracy has done so well is because he gave his followers 3 months of access to his powers, and they brutally repressed most of the. Well, they repressed. I assume it was brutally, but they repressed most of the rebellions.
Oh my goodness.
And a lot of these rebellions, honestly, are some of them are like religious ideals breaking apart, but some of them are also not that, but they're like evil mages who have started to come out of the woodwork.
I bet Aaron loves that.
He's kind of stepped away. He's like, you guys handle that. Hopefully it doesn't get too out of hand. Autopsy is experimenting with his dimensional powers. He creates a realm of darkness around him, and then that's like a subdimension to his subdimension, right? And then it comes to the middle part of the day. They spend most of day 5 there, and at the end of day 5, they sense a break in the boundary of the world. And find out that there's somebody going to intrude and go to the edge of the world where they find it break through. It's just a very frontal, full force attack. Aaron has been setting up defenses to basically emulate the Earth world, whereas when extra-dimensional entities enter the Earth realm, they're weakened, right? And it was a very involved process, required him to make some checks that could have went badly if he wasn't as skilled of a wizard as he was. Well, not even badly. They would have just done nothing, really, but a huge waste of time because it was most of a day for him. But it does, and what happens is that you're able to give he discovered you're able to kind of give your boundary a limitation of -1 CS effectively, so a weakness. But when extra dimensional entities enter your world, with no particular hint, it was with just the requirement of the knowledge and manipulating the magic. But they wanted to make it stronger, and the resource, the development kind of goes through. And he discovers a way to make it even stronger, discovering you can take basically permanent weaknesses for additional losses. So to get a -2 CS effectively, and that when I say -1, -2, that's to everything except for reason and appearance or personality are reduced by the minus. So all your magic, all your psyche, all your physical stats, they're reduced. Okay. They discover that if you add additional modifiers to it, your group has to take more weaknesses. So Aaron toys with the idea of losing all of his godlike powers. To give a big bonus, a big negative, only him. It would only affect him. But lose all of his godlike powers to give a big negative to anybody who tries to enter his dimension, because they are focusing entirely on defense. And that would have given him a -4 or 5. I would have to go back and look. I think it was a -4 CS to anything you enter on. So if you come in at amazing, you go down to uncanny, incredible, remarkable, excellent.
This has nothing to do with that time Ankra shot a moon at him.
Yeah, surely not. Yeah.
No, that wouldn't bother anybody. Just but a scratch.
But so he doesn't take that. But the general rule is that anything that you apply applies to all the dimensional entities in your realm, right? So he decides to go for -2, and that gives every dimensional entity. He selects the weakness. It's got to be a fairly common weakness. He gives everybody in his dimension who is not from the main realm a weakness to silver. So if anybody does that, it automatically negates your any defenses you have, and it doesn't like poison you to kill you, but it weakens your magics can't affect it either.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then that gives everybody who enters a -2. So the barrier breaks, as I was saying before. There's a very straightforward. Somebody's just not even trying to hide their intrusion. They're just shattering the barrier. And they're like, I wonder who this could be. And do you have any guesses?
Dormammu.
Dormammu is not in the Sorcerer Supreme contest.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
No, it's gotta be Dr. Lancaster.
It's a good guess. It was Dr. Doom.
Malik. Oh no!
Yeah.
I thought he was one of the contestants.
He is. That's why he broke in.
Yeah.
You can kill each other now.
Yeah. We can kill the
yeah.
other contestants now.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, so if you die, you just get kicked out, right? You're not dead.
Yeah.
But Dr. Doom insinuates he has a way to make you dead.
Shock from him.
So there's a false small fight that breaks out. They immediately attack Dr. Doom, and Doom's like, Doom is not here to battle you, paltry though your forces may be. Doom has come to make an offer to your benefit, Aaron. Join hands with Doom and survive, or fight and perish, kind of thing.
He took a lot of acting classes in school, didn't he?
Yeah, must have. I had some trouble with remembering to say Doom every time, or King Doom, or Lord Doom, or Doctor Doom. But they hear that, and Doctor Doom says basically, "Hey, there's some guys here that shouldn't be the Sorcerer Supreme. Look, you may not." He says it in much more arrogant and demeaning ways to them, but you may not like me, but I'm not going to blow up the whole world, right? So why don't you team up with me? We go over there and kill some of these other chumps, and we move along with our day. And then we can figure out who wins later on, but we'll get rid of the people who could sneak by and still win this thing if I'm not able to destroy them in advance. It's a lot of people to kill, basically. It's like, I'm not sure I can kill them all in just 3 days. So, they team up with Dr. Doom, and Autopsy gets left behind to guard the place, and Aaron and Dr. Doom go and invade a place, and they invade Baron Mordo's realm, and that is where they end. And Dr. Doom's like, yeah, and he's like, let's kill him. And Aaron's like, okay.
Oh, wow.
So.
Yeah,
what were you gonna
last thing. Aaron might have accidentally given Anchor an idea how she could win.
Yeah.
Well, okay then.
They also had an idea too after talking about that. That they could go into other people's realms and sap people's energy, to take sap the mage's energy to make Infinity Stones. But it's pretty clear quickly that the Infinity Stones only function in the dimension they're in. And you would have to set up the machinery and the devices So it's not a very efficient way compared to just going in there and defeating them in the battle. Because you'll basically have to defeat them in the battle to set up the device.
Yeah.
So they toss that idea out. Okay, so there we are. That's the recap. Delilah and Daybreak. You guys are in day...
So
end of day
just
4
remind me-
still.
Yeah. So just remind me, as a master, I get all other spells at Remarkable.
No.
Is that right?
I think it's good.
Good. Okay. I cast Emotion Control.
Emotion control. Okay.
Yeah. I would like you
Nobody's tried that before.
I would like you not to be berserking at me anymore.
Please don't kill me.
So would it be rage suppression?
Well, just not be raging anymore. Just gonna flip that off.
Do I have to roll to fight it, or?
I gotta check and see what level it is. What level you get the spells at.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I just
I believe it's
spell.
good. And then you need to find the spell and see what it does. Read the description for us. I believe it should work just like you're thinking. You should be able to make her stop raging.
Yeah. Find these spells.
Masters. Okay. Okay. So the book doesn't give you all spells at a certain rank. But I've been assigning all masters a spell, so it will be good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I sent a link to the soundtrack, which is wrong, so don't play it. I forgot where we were.
Yeah. So I have to make a feat roll, and the target is allowed a psych check to attempt to resist the form of mental control.
Okay.
There, play
So
it.
I have to make the roll first.
So you have to make a roll, and then she has to make a psyche roll. However, in this case, what is your berserk rank?
With her berserk rank, she's feeble.
No, what is your berserk rank? The power.
Oh, typical.
Okay, so I would say that any powers that try to manipulate your emotions while you're berserk would operate off of your berserk rank or your unmodified intuition. It's usually pretty hard to convince somebody who's not angry to calm down. So what's your normal intuition?
Intuition would be excellent.
Okay, so there's what your rank is. If you raise your berserk
Oh, no,
rank...
I'm sorry. I was looking at psyche. My normal is remarkable. I'm sorry.
Okay. So that should be a green for you to make that. It's usually pretty hard to convince somebody who's angry in one of these superpower forms to calm down. Usually it seems like it requires somebody pretty powerful to do that. So, Daybreak, when you raise your berserk rank, what is the... What do we... Oh yeah, it raises your iron will that you get.
Right. So she's got... Right now, the iron will is still at typical 2,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So it's almost useless.
But now that she is berserking, would it go against her natural? Wouldn't it go against her altered
You would,
state?
and for finding anything, it would, but for the effects of against emotion control, I would think it would have to be your normal state. Because that's what I'm saying, is it's pretty hard. It would either be your berserk rank, right? Which if you raise your berserk rank, the harder it is to control you. And I would say that's the same. Like, the berserk rank gives you an iron will, so the iron will can be used to resist mental domination. So
Gotcha,
it
that
can
makes
also
sense.
be used to resist emotional control, but if it doesn't, then you can still use your base stats for any mental control.
Okay.
Actually, not psychic controls. I feel like usually they're pretty vulnerable to those. Hulk seems to be pretty vulnerable to getting psychically controlled. And that's who I'm basing all this off of. But he seems to be pretty difficult to control emotionally. I've seen it happen, but it's usually like super powerful entities. And like the Sentry was one of the ones that really affected him, and it didn't work so well. And then there was a pretty powerful emotional manipulator on the X-Men, who I'm forgetting the name of.
So, shall I make the spell roll to see if I rolled really badly last session.
Yeah, so make your spell roll.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Oh no. So 28 on good is a white, so no good. Alright, so actually I just sent that soundtrack, so we will not do that because you guys are in the fight still. Daybreak, you are in a frenzy right now, and you're looking for this Red Guardian figure. And I need you... Oh, no. And you see the Red Guardian figure right in front of you.
I'm going for him, though.
Okay.
Let's see. At this point, her fighting is probably going to be stronger than anything else she does, so...
Yeah.
Let's go for a fight roll.
Delilah, I need you to make a... roll on your... Do you have magic detection? The spell?
No, not as one of her innate spells.
Yeah, at least I whiffed that one, so you don't have to worry about it. She's just so angry, she just can't focus enough to, like, punch somebody.
That's for 2 attacks.
Yeah, that was to see if you get 2 attacks, so you just get 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I just get 1 attack. Okay, let's see.
Don't worry, I got you.
1 attack, so then I come back with a 6. Hey, I'm doing even better.
Wow, that's amazing.
You know how I roll.
Alright,
If it doesn't
Delilah,
matter, I
roll to
crit.
dodge as Daybreak charges at you and tries to punch your face off.
Yeah. Spent the camera to get my face punched in.
Okay, sensing mystical detection.
What's that?
Sensing mystical detection. You should roll it
Yep.
on your good rank.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my
Okay.
good rank 57.
That's green. Unlike some illusions, you can tell that there is an illusion cast around you. It's not visible to you.
Yeah. Delilah's smart enough to recognize what's happened. She's like, that's not good.
Yeah. So to manipulate her emotions, you're going to have to overcome the illusion.
I can't use that one because it's one of my evil spells.
When has that ever stopped you before?
When I, like, did
Wanna
a
be
bunch
done?
of bad things because of that.
Oh, I remember.
Let's see. Okay, good spells. We only use good spells.
How long have I been in Berserker Wrench? Because I think it's only for, what, 10 rounds?
2 or 3, I believe.
Okay.
The fight was quite short. They fled pretty quickly. We'll say it's been 3 rounds.
Okay. So we're on round 4?
Yep.
Okay.
1 second. Let's check the rank. Berserker last. The Berserker lasts for a length of combat plus 10 rounds.
Okay, so now we're on round 1. Gotcha.
Nope, you're in combat with Red Guardian.
Oh.
So.
You're so insidious. You know this, right?
Yeah. Okay. You picked the power, and I loved it, so.
I know. And it does. The thing is, it fits so well.
Yeah.
So I can't even mad at myself.
Okay. James, what do you want to do? Delilah. You guys are floating in this vast stretch of outer space. Nothing around you. The planet's behind you. There is your damaged barrier in front of you that slowly seems to be repairing itself. You can see Delilah because of the mental connection you have to this barrier. You're beaten and bruised, and Daybreak's rushing at you mindlessly. I don't know what you want to say, Daybreak. You're pretty dumb right now. So I don't imagine you doing much more than screaming, but if you got something you want to toss in there, like Hawk speak, go for it.
No, she'd probably scream.
Yeah.
Like that deep, blood-curdling Xena warrior scream.
Do I think the Vishanti are good at dispelling magic?
The Vishanti are pretty dependable on doing most things.
So I think she would fall back on that, as the other illusion spells she has are just the good ones, which she doesn't think she could beat out the literal I have mastered illusion magic.
Too bad you can't put an illusion on top of the illusion.
I could do, but it wouldn't be as good.
Oh, wait.
It would just be really confusing.
Yes, Agamotto is like the master of dispelling illusions. It's the
there you go.
So yeah, I mean he's perfect for this. I mean one of the Vishanti. I don't know why I didn't remember that. So like, Agamotto is the one that empowers the magic eye that Doctor Strange has that sees through illusions.
So yes, she will try to call upon the Vishanti to lift this illusion that's been cast upon herself.
Okay, so for that, you make a roll on the Vishanti based on their disposition to you.
Yep, which is currently amazing. Bam!
Nice.
Yep, that's a red.
Okay, nice. So you call upon the powers of Vishanti, spit out some sort of hokey magic speak. You want me to give you an example one?
Yeah, go on.
Let's see. Oh, it doesn't give us one for the Agamotto. Let's see what other Vishanti.
Yeah.
And now by Agamotto, by Hogarth, and Ashtar, by you three who are the Vishanti, famed upon beyond all spheres of stones, heed the call of Doctor Strange. That's our example one.
Finishes off going, heed the call of Delilah Wester.
Alright.
Slap.
And it casts forward, and you are bathed in bright light as you can feel the magic wash away from you. And it spreads out, and you see an illusion break around you, and you can see off in the distance Red Guardian and Delilah moving towards the center, and the Phantasma moving towards the center of your solar system. Daybreak, make your attack. You're still berserk. You're no longer in. You're berserk though. You've got a combatant still in front of you.
Let's see, rolling for 2.
But you
did not get.
You know it's. You kind of can vaguely feel it may be a familiar person.
Alright, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
That's a crit.
Dodge.
Please dodge. Please, Delilah, please dodge.
Dodge.
Oh,
Do
no.
not dodge.
Okay.
much
Do you want to
damage?
add extra damage? Stun her? Or stun him?
Okay, here's my question. You just said that I see that I don't exactly know who I'm fighting, but I know it's somebody I know.
Yeah, now you're not sure. The Red Guardian disappeared, and there's like you're in that haze of rage.
Even in that haze, is it possible that suddenly that snap of wait, this might not be what I think it is? Could she pull a punch?
To knock my head off, just
Yeah.
me out.
Because am I going to base this hit off of my fighting or off of my strength?
It's off your strength.
Oh.
Um,
No, it's still I don't want to hurt her.
I don't think so. Yes, Orlando remains rather dangerous to be around. So in 10 rounds, you will no longer be angry now.
Okay. Alright. Well, right now, my strength is amazing.
So sensational.
No, it's amazing with my berserker power behind it. It's
you're
normally...
critical.
Yeah, it's normally remarkable.
You critical, so sensational.
Yeah.
Okay, 60, Delilah.
Yep, that knocks me out.
Alright, so boom! Shattering the magic force field, and you get slammed in the side of the head. You tumble backwards and crash into one of the gas giants nearby.
I'm sorry.
You lose her. Making an awareness roll. Daybreak. On your modified awareness to see if you can find another target.
An awareness, so what am I basing that off of? Just reason?
Sorry, intuition.
That would be a feeble, so white. I think. Or should be a white.
Yes, that's a white.
Yeah.
Do you want to spin karma on that, or no?
Do I want to do what?
Do you want to spend karma on that, or no?
Let me see how much I got. Hold on. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay.
So for 45, hold on,
20?
that's what I need.
You need a 57, 58.
Yeah, so what? 20 karma?
Yep.
That's what I thought. I'll do it.
Okay, so you look around, and then your eyes catch two figures moving towards the center of the solar system, and you zip after them, shooting off forward at full speed. Delilah, heroic recovery, or you want to just lay there?
Yeah. She will heroic recovery. She just kind of gathers herself, going like, ugh.
Remind me never to do that again.
Psyche or endurance?
What was the first one?
Psyche or endurance, your choice. For the roll to come back into the fight.
Oh,
You have an
Psyche.
amazing psyche.
Yeah, it'll be Psyche. Let's give it a go. Yep, that's about right.
Okay, so you just you lay there. You're like, do you want to spin
I'm just
karma?
gonna take a nap.
Do you want to spin karma on this?
Question. Yeah, go on. We'll spend some karma on this. I need to raise it by like a lot.
20 actually.
Oh yeah.
You just need a green.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. So move it up to a green. And what does that put my health at?
1.
There you go. 1.
But you're not dying.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
picks herself up going,
If you pass out again, you begin the dying rolls, right? But I have been talking about this, but we've kind of been testing out and implementing another thing. So I'm going to say that you're still in the dying rolls after you pass out again, but you can make another heroic recovery to stay in the fight and still be dying every round. But
oh wow! Like you're bleeding out, but you're still like
fighting the good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be like a hero thing.
Yeah, die on your feet, kind of thing.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it works out pretty well, and you can do that again. So next level it'll be yellow that you have to make, right, to stay on your feet and keep fighting even though you're dying. And then the last one is a red, so you can do it 2 more times, but it doesn't stop the endurance trap loss.
That actually really does sound like a cool mod.
All right, so you leap into action, Delilah, and start to fly down. Fly after them. Daybreak, you get there, and Red Guardian turns to face you. He raises the shield up in front of him, and you see Phantasma look back, smirks, and looks to be casting a spell. You don't recognize that, of course. Yeah, what do you want to do?
I want to hit them very, very hard.
Okay, make your attack roll.
Okay. So for 2 attacks, let's try that one. I got 2 attacks, okay. And so the first one, 42. Oh, what is my agility? Oh, it's fighting. Let's see, so spectacular. It's probably a green, I think. Yep, so I got a green on the first one. Then for the second, and another green.
Okay, so he gets 2 attacks with his roll. Just we're saving it for now. So the first roll you got was a green. He dodges underneath your blow and then boom, bashes you in the side of the head with the shield. You stumble backwards as you take 30 points of damage.
This is but a scratch. Sorry, I gotta stop saying that.
What is your what's your body or what's your true invulnerability?
True invulnerability is excellent.
Excellent. Okay, so you would take 2 points of damage from that.
And that's still hitting my berserker hit points.
Yeah, so it goes into your Iron Will. Additionally, you can have your aura up. I don't remember how much that protects you.
Her aura protects her.
Actually, I'm not sure you have your aura up when you're berserking. That seems too complicated for a berserker.
Yeah, because her aura it's a feat, so
yeah.
She can't use that anyway when she's berserking.
Yeah, I would say no, probably. Alright, so anyways, boom, smacks you in the side of the head. You can put that into your Iron Will. So how Iron Will works is that fills up. And, okay, anytime it fills up, the remainder overflows. Then you can, on your turn, you can burn the Iron Will pool and take half of the damage in the Iron Will, round it up, so you take 3 damage. Okay?
Okay.
So you take 2 damage into your Iron Will. And then your second attack comes in, you swing hard at him, and he raises up his shield, catching your blow, flying backwards. As, how much damage do you do?
Do I do?
Yes.
Amazing.
He he shakes his arm like, ow, from the force of the blow, but he still seems to be more or less okay.
So at this point, we're just like, ugh.
Yeah, but Daybreak in Berserk mode probably doesn't recognize it, but Daybreak in normal mode would recognize it. All you gotta do is get 1 or 2 good punches on this guy.
I think she'll get it. I think she will. Just give her a minute to warm up.
Okay. The spell is cast, and you see appearing from a portal nearby a man in an iron red suit. He looks to be Crimson Dynamo. And then Perun, the Slavic god of thunder, appears, wielding his axe. They charge at you. Daybreak.
Alright, so I'm just gonna roll, probably just to dodge.
Make a dodge roll.
And this is on monstrous.
Two of them.
So I got let's see. Actually, Yeah, I got a yellow. It's got a yellow.
Okay, the first one is a yellow. The second one is a yellow. What'd you get?
Second one is that's gotta be white. Let me check.
Okay, the first
I'm
one.
not used to rolling on monsters.
That individual rushes in, boom, and slams
green.
into you with his fist. You take the blow, and you stumble backwards, taking 25 points of damage after your armor and everything.
Okay.
And then the other one rushes in, and then boom, slams into the side of your head with his axe. As it smashes you over and you go flying off to the distance, you take 50 more points of damage.
50-50?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Delilah, you fly in and you see Daybreak just throwing herself off to the left and then to the right, and there's nothing hitting her.
Yep. Let's see. Alright, I'm gonna roll to see if I get 2 spells. Hello.
Nice. I think you got him.
Right. Let's see. Yes, I think I know what I'm gonna do. As the first spell, we're gonna shoot an Eldritch Bolt at the Guardian.
The Red Guardian?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'ma shoot him. Not very well.
He rolls out of the way quickly and agilely, and he readies his shield, he throws it at you, and it just whizzes past your head, missing you by 4. As it spins back around and comes back to his hands. As he stands there in space, bouncing it off one of your inner planets.
Yeah. Having missed him as my second personal spell, I'm gonna use what Aaron taught me. I'm gonna use telekinesis, but on the other mage.
Peru?
Not as a psychic punch, but as a grab.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh. No.
Alright. Make the so you gotta make a psyche roll to hit, and then you have to make an opposed strength versus psyche.
The spell, I believe it is. Let me confirm that first. Good.
And the strength rank is your psyche, is your spell rank, obviously.
Yeah. So the psyche roll was 46. That's green.
Okay, that makes contact. As it wraps up around her, she begins to struggle against it.
Alright, so I roll the strength of the spell.
Okay.
It is not good.
Okay, did you succeed? No, you did not succeed.
No.
She fails too. So as it wraps around her, she manages to flail loose as you try to grapple her, and she pulls herself free from your grip, your mental grip. She looks at you and says, you need to channel a Russian voice. No, she's just screw it. Anyways, she says, well, dear, I think you're in...
Comrade?
Well, comrade, you're in deep over your head. Be a sweet little girl and go on home. This is for our true masters. No comment from Delilah?
Beaten up, kind of fresh by her and her teammate. Delilah goes, that might be, but there's no reason to back down. I will always defend those who need defending.
Alright, spoken like a true hero.
Yeah.
Okay, new round. Daybreak, go.
Daybreak really wants to hit someone, so she's going to go after Perun this time. Just because he looks familiar.
Yeah.
And rolling for 2, which I did not get, by the way. So my actual attack is going to be 12. No, 85. All right.
Okay, you rush forward and boom, slam into Perun. Make a reason roll.
And that's only a yellow, which sucks, but a reason roll?
Yeah.
On my feeble reasoning?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be a Y8.
Perun goes flying back, and he goes into the sun, and he goes and bursts out, lightning surrounding him, and as he looks singed but angry as he flies back at you. Crimson Dino rushes forward and grabs you by your arms and holds you in place as Perun comes chushing at the both of you.
I want to kick him when he gets close enough. I still have legs. I can use those.
Okay, dodge with a... Actually, make a
Monstrous
strength...
dodge.
Make a strength roll.
Alright. Strength is amazing. 73.
Alright, he grabs hold of you and holds you in place, but you're kind of struggling. You keep somewhat free, and but he's got you kind of in place. He seems to be just as strong as you. And then Perun rushes at you. Roll a dodge with a minus 3 CS. 4 CS.
Alright, so that would be... Hold on. 1, 2, 3. So uncanny?
Yep.
Okay.
As long as you succeed this, you definitely dodge.
36. So it's a green.
Alright, you kick hard into the guy's legs and flip him over your back, kind of like kicking down and ducking your head down, and your strength throws him in front of you, and he crashes into Perun's axe with a shattering blow. He's thrown backwards.
I like that one. That was cool.
Okay. Meanwhile, Delilah, you look over and Daybreak's like struggling with her arms, like being held by some invisible force, and then she does a full front flip, and then she looks back and smiles like,
Yeah.
Alright, Delilah. Red Guardian attacks.
I'm sure he does.
He only gets one attack. He rushes in and ducks low and then comes up with an uppercut. Roll to fighting.
Fighting, that was... She's got remarkable fighting. So that is a green.
This uppercut is thrown, and it is on yellow, and it boom slams into your chin. It hits your force field, but your force field holds as you take 20 points of damage.
Still alive.
Okay, and then you look back and you see a magical ray appear in front of her. and a powerful Eldritch Bolt is blasted.
As I will...
Is that a red?
Yellow dog.
Yellow? You leap out of the way as the bolt blasts by and incinerates one of your inner planets. Your planet closest to the sun is gone, as these powerful magical energies are thrown wildly. You look back in second in horror, but then turn back to knowing that, well, that planet can always be rebuilt. Then you feel an intrusion upon your mind. Roll psyche.
Not a good idea.
Roll psyche. Actually,
It's a good
she's just
idea,
gonna try to blast you mentally. Not even try to take you over.
Yeah. 39 is a green.
Okay, you resist her mental blast and throw it back at her. She kind of holds her head for a second. Well, natural one. Oof. Alright, Delilah, you're up.
Yeah, she kind of goes, I've got enough occupants up here, thank you. I'm gonna roll for 2. Let's see, what's that? What do you need to roll for 2?
Psyche.
Like, what result?
A yellow?
Yeah, so that's just the green, so that's just the 1. Yeah. Okay, so we're making a judgment call here, because I could, like, dispel those illusions attacking Daybreak, but then she could just make more of them. So I do have another alternative idea of what to do. To kind of cut out that middleman a little bit. I'm gonna again go take one from Aaron's book, but now properly from Aaron's book without a change of mind. I would like to telekinetically shove the Soviet sorceress. Specifically, I want to shove her into Daybreak.
Oh.
Roll a psyche roll.
Yep,
as you hear something going through your mind, and your
Does
chat,
he get to roll for 2 attacks?
and your chat messages.
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't worry about that. It's fine. That is a red.
Was that the psyche roll that I requested?
Yes.
Okay, there is you feel like these tendrils wrap around your very mind. Your eyes go dark for a second, and then you shake it off. Your physical weakness seems to be weakening your mental hold. Aren't you reduced on these rolls somewhere?
Yeah. How far was I reduced?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I thought you had a note somewhere.
Yeah, I did. I think it's like pretty low, so that would be a yellow.
Okay. So you don't remember exactly?
Yeah, I think it's like a typical now for resisting these.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got like this guy's been trying to control my mind multiple times.
Oh, you're good though.
Like it's rough in here.
Okay, go for it.
Right, let's see if I can roll
You got
this.
your one attack with a green, right? And then you're pushing her.
Yep.
What's your psyche rank?
Or
Or what's your telekinesis rank?
telekinesis rank is remarkable.
Okay, so this is going for a slam attack, so you make the attack roll, it strikes her hard, and sends her careening backwards. How much damage does that do?
So that's remarkable, so that's like
30. Okay, so it strikes her for 30 points of damage, cracking her force field, but it holds. Then she makes an endurance roll to resist the slam. She gets a yellow on remarkable, which is I believe staggered. She doesn't really. She just takes a couple steps back from the blow.
all right.
I pull open the book. Nobody ever slams.
I'll have to start doing that more.
Alright, let's see. Light. Oh, okay. So she got a 69, which is a yellow. No, it's a green on remarkable. Okay. She is knocked up and backwards off her feet, and she careens but she seems to have careens backwards, but seems to have partially dodged the blow in a way, and the trajectory is not where you desired. She flies back towards the sun, the solar system center, as opposed to the direction of Daybreak.
All right.
Daybreak, you're up again.
Daybreak wants hit. She wants to hit really bad. So for 2, just got 1. So, who do I think I'm closest to?
Crimson Dynamo is right behind you. He is shaking himself off after you threw him into Perun, and Perun is right in front of you.
Let's go, Perun. She always goes straight for what's in front of her.
Yeah.
How about an 87 on
You rush forward and boom, slam into him. Another bruise appears. He stumbles backwards, but draws his axe again, and goes in, and then slams his axe against you. Roll to dodge.
on monstrous. Okay. Like I said, I'm not used to working on that level.
Monstrous 86 or higher is.
So just at a yellow. Just below a red.
So both of you got a yellow. You raise your hands up and the axe grinds against them, doing 25 points of damage. Then Crimson Dynamo lunges at you from the back, and he pulls up the last second, comes up above you, and shoots a repulsor rays down. Roll to dodge, agility.
Yellow. Oh wait, yeah.
You leap to the side, but it's not fast enough. You're blasted in the legs. One that burns. You take another 25 points. How are you doing hit point wise?
I'm actually into my actual hit points, but I'm still. You said 25, right?
Yeah, you've taken 125 total from these guys.
I'm still over 100.
Okay, good.
So it's not even.
Delilah, you look over to the side and you see David go like this, and then as she throws a hard punch, and then she looks back and she goes like this, crosses her hand, and then winces in pain. Something invisible crosses against her arms. But there's no wounds there. And then she looks behind her and then goes for a punch, but then it seems to have missed. Looks up into the sky and then raises her hands again to block, or like raises her hands as the blast comes, and then decides to jump off to the side. After a second of hesitation, gets blasted, her legs spin out from under, and she seems to spin off to the side in space. Rights herself and looks back up at two individuals, both invisible, up above her. Red Guardian. He gets one attack, I believe. Or two attacks. Yep, gets two attacks. And he looks at you and he says, "Young lady, this isn't personal. This is just for the betterment of the motherland and for all humans." And he punches at you, and then he swings his shield. So that's a green on his first one.
For Delilah.
And a green. He's attacking with his shield technically both times. And then, okay, so, wait, not a green, is it? 56 is a yellow. So the yellow and a white.
Yeah, so the first one against the yellow, white, and then white again.
Alright, so the first shield, boom, strikes. Shield crashes against your shield, taking 30 points of damage. He ducks underneath of you, so you kind of try to do a punch to get him some distance, and then you scoot back, and he punches up as you're scooting back, and this uppercut misses you. Alright, then you look over to the side, and there is a powerful magical energy appear as one of the moons of the destroyed planet is repurposed and then thrown at you with tremendous force. That's a green. Actually, no. Instead of pulling parts of the moon together, she goes like this and sucks flames out of the sun and then blasts them down towards you.
Yep.
She only got one attack.
59 is green.
Okay. So you take 25 to your shield as the shield is rocked by the blast of flames.
No, that will break the shield.
Oh no! The shield goes down and the flames lick at your body. How much do you take?
So that was 25 damage.
Yep.
So 15.
Okay. Are you going to come back or are you going to stay out?
I think she's going to try to come back.
Okay.
Delilah's not a quitter.
Okay.
Man, she has really evolved.
Make a psyche roll. Yellow. You need no karma.
Yep. 38. Not a yellow.
Okay. You stay down. You're like, I'm not a quitter. I'm not gonna quit. But you were already far past the limits of any normal person, and your best efforts can't get you back up. You pull yourself up to your feet, you look at him for a second, and start to say a spell, but then, boom, collapse down, and you start to plummet into space. Alright. Meanwhile, off to the side, Daybreak continues her battle, right, with the illusions, and there's a spell being cast into the middle of your world by Phantasma. And actually, there's not even a spell being cast. As you fall to the ground and disappear into the void, your dimension disappears. And you guys awaken in the opening area where you saw the Vishanti before speak to you, and there is one other individual here It is. There you go. There's one other individual there. It is the young Dr. Druid. She looks over at the two of you, and Daybreak, you are no longer enraged and no longer fighting anybody. You and Delilah look at each other.
Delilah no longer injured, I assume.
Yeah, you're feeling really achy and sore, but you're no longer injured.
Yeah. He looks over at Daybreak, going, "Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry, Daybreak. I was afraid this was going to be the likely result of me in this tournament, but couldn't.
Well, look at it this way.
Not tried.
You have a real job to go work anyway, so we need you more on Earth than out in the Oblivion.
Don't know if it's that simple, Daybreak. There's people in this tournament that should not win.
Maybe, but there's also people that are in the tournament still that we know about that could, and that would be amazing at it. This one wasn't your fight. It doesn't mean the next one won't be, but you showed up and you did it. You did your best. I am the one that needs to apologize to you for not holding up my end of the bargain.
You have only very vague memories of what happened when you were berserk, right?
No, she just means She means overall the whole thing.
Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, Delilah kind of like nods, but she doesn't like smile back. She's obviously quite like hurt by this loss and worried, deeply worried.
Well, you did what you could do. You gotta let fate decide the rest at this point.
She like holds her head as if she's getting a headache.
With a black eye. That's oddly shaped like
you look at her
like
as she's
this.
holding her head, and at this point in time, there's like a weird. For a second, you see like a third eye start to appear and a fourth eye, and then she holds her head. They disappear.
No, this pass in the tournament is over for me.
So what now? Do we just go sit in the spectators box somewhere, or?
Yeah, she looks around. We're in that like empty void. There's nobody here other than Dr. Druid, right?
Yeah, there is a black. This is a blank, kind of a blank space, gray, and in front of you, there's a sort of magical portal that allows you to observe. But you sense that you could warp out of here if you wish to.
Yeah, so upon sensing that, she goes, I suppose this is...
Dr. Druid looks back at you, and you don't recognize her, but she looks at you like she may know you.
Yeah, Delilah has no idea who she is. She doesn't like quite go over there yet. She's still like interested in this observation thing.
So, while you observe, time seems to flow pretty quickly here for you guys. And you see day 4 end, Phantasma and Red Guardian re-enter their world. And then you see Proteus and Atuma are defeated by Dr. Lancaster and a Colossus. And they are the next to appear. Proteus was Dr. Lancaster's own teacher.
Interesting.
And one of the two Atlanteans in this. Then also in day 5, Magic leads Colossus with her. Magic, you know of Delilah, is a member of the Cork Academy, and she attacks Dormagus and Wong. And in a very aggressive move. And it goes poorly for her as Dormagus and Wong defeat Magic and Colossus.
Tragic.
Carnaxa and Clea are arguing in most of day 5 about whether they should go out and attack other people. And they have the two of them have formed some sort of bridge between the dimensions and are meeting in this interdimensional space that has seemingly traits of both of their dimensions. And they are arguing. Carnaxus like, we need to go destroy everyone. I need to teach that whippersnapper Aaron a lesson. And Clea's like, what are you talking about? We just need to do a good job taking care of our place.
It's like a weird, trippy version of the Hunger Games.
Yeah. And then at the end of day 5, Morgan Le Fay and Phantasma face off against each other. As Morgan Le Fay attacks Phantasma, and they are soon after Phantasma and the Red Guardian appear in this space too. Now Magic is here, Phantasma, Proteus, Dr. Druid, and Brother Voodoo meets up with Dormagus, and the two of them ally with each other. Finally, in the late part of day 5, I'm calling this, but we can't officially call it, but I expect Baron Mordo will be out of the tournament.
Yeah.
He will either be deceased and no longer with us, or he will be in this area. So, that's as far as I can go with what's going on in predictions, because that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams left.
Wow.
And we've lost 5. If you look in at Ankara and a Hulk's dimension, you notice that the whole dimension has turned into sand. The whole place has been broken down into its constituent matter, and is being kind of spun around as some sort of... Wait a minute.
That doesn't sound optimum.
Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of the wrong person. That was Baron Mordo's realm. When you look in on Ankral's realm... Yeah, actually, no. Ankra has... So, Ankra and Baron Mordo had a similar defense. Baron Mordo had some sort of sand monster working for him, and he spreads the sand monster out, and it becomes like this giant entity, having broken down most of the planets there. Ankra, however, has taken a slightly different but similar approach. She is... she's devoured all of the magical energy in the whole dimension, and has, instead of using it or accessing it, she has kind of just taken it all for herself. And so the whole place is sort of, she's just like a very large version of herself and floating in an empty void, right? There's really nothing left inside of her system, and there's not even magic in her system. It's all within Ankara.
Wow.
And she's very, very powerful within that realm. And the Hulk is just kind of floating there, and she is casting some strange spells as she looks out. And from the spells, you can tell that she has somehow been able to figure out a way to peek into the spaces between the dimensions. So that's what she's doing. Morgan Le Fay's taking people out. Morgan Le Fay and Mordred transformed their realm into like some sort of medieval paradise thing. Morgan, however, appears to be doing some sort of time spells of sort in her realm. And the I think I'm hearing a duplicate from you, James.
Sorry.
The time spells are something that seems to they are starting to affect her dimension, and she's able to rewind or forward time in her dimension without being bound to the rules that the other ones have gone to. And you can see that she has also looking into the other dimensions. Looking out into the other dimensions, and you can see those time spells start to wrap around other people's dimensions. Dr. Doom, his dimension is looks like the giant Death Star. It's this mechanical masterpiece carved with magical ruins, and you see. Before the alliance between Dormagus and Brother Voodoo happened, Brother Voodoo found the dimension, assaulted the base, and was beaten back by the base's automated defenses. Yeah, so that's where we're at the end of day 5.
Nice.
What do you guys want to do?
Also, I'll let you know, Ankara's dimension didn't always used to look like that. There did used to be people there.
Classic.
Yeah. She she did the fun thing. She made a bunch of golden pyramid planets, had a bunch of people worshipping, making them fight each other. They disappointed her. She killed all of them. She made new ones. They disappointed her again. So she just decided, enough playing around, and then crunched her own universe, basically.
All that has to survive is the dimension to be technically able to win.
Yep.
Winning on a technicality is still a win.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you guys want to do while you're in this space? You've got a day here, right now. Which passes by in about an hour or two.
Well, I think Delilah will actually be curious about this, as she will go up to probably even Phantasma. Because despite that absolute thrashing, Delilah doesn't actually consider it personal. She actually doesn't.
Yeah.
And she'll actually ask them, going, Phantasma,
she looks over
have
you.
ever been...
She goes, you were Delilah, correct?
She nods and goes, yes, that'll be the second time we fought, I think.
Yes, it is unfortunate, but what can I do for you?
I was wondering, have you ever been in one of these tournaments before? Or do you know about any previous ones?
Yes, I was in the one for Doctor Strange.
Right. I was curious. This observing the matches after the fact, is that normal? Like, I heard this was going to be just a straight up tournament, but it seems very strange this time round.
The last one was more of a battle. But it seems as though the Vishanti were not pleased with the results. I would surmise it was because the good doctor only made it a few years. Normally, the Sorcerer Supreme lasts for hundreds.
Delilah, does her best not to get mad. Doctor Strange being insulted, she keeps it internal. It goes, right, okay, thank you. And then she'll turn to Daybreak, going, Daybreak, something weird's going on.
Before you go, she kind of grabs your shoulder lightly and says,
yes.
You're young, sorceress. Your chance will come. You have good potential, I think. And then she lets you go.
She does actually smile at that, nods, and then goes over to Daybreak. And just goes, Daybreak, something weird's going on with this tournament.
Like what?
Well, as far as I'm aware of what everyone else has ever said about these tournaments, they've always been just straight fight. Greatest sorcerer around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's strange enough that we're being allowed to basically watch these results. I mean, we're not needed here anymore. I've never read the Vishanti as being the sentimental type.
Well, what if, and I know nothing about this kind of stuff, you know that, but what if, because Doctor Strange died so suddenly, they realize that they need somebody that's more than just straight on force and power, but they need somebody that can think and adapt a little bit better, and they're adjusting their trial by fire accordingly.
It doesn't feel right. I know the past.
Or is it possible for somebody to control the Vishanti?
She shakes her head, going, "No, that would require more power than."
Doctor Doom did it. It's all Doctor Doom. It's always Doctor Doom.
Proteus comes over and says, "Ha! You're Doctor Strange's apprentice, aren't you?" Ha.
I was taught by him, yes?
Yes, I can tell. You have all of the potential, none of the skills. Just like
you're a jerk.
Yes, that's what some ignorants call me, but nonetheless, I think what is that charming Earth saying about something.
And we have another charming thing.
Stumbling upon the right thing, or something like that. Yes. Anyways, blah blah blah. But you happen to get onto the right track here, I think. There's always a test of worthiness here, and the Vishanti's worthiness has usually been power. But there is a bit of benevolence required at some point, and it's a bit strange that they have allowed a certain few that would be more interested in seeing our dimension destroyed than preserved. even if it could use with a bit firmer hand.
Yes, I'm kind of thinking a similar thing. Tell me, while you were in your dimension, did you notice anything, I don't know, like, noteworthy, like, something that just didn't... It's hard to describe. It's not like something was wrong, but, like, there was something deeper in there.
What do you mean? I have a theory, but... He looks around, looks over at Magic, looks over at Dr. Druid, Phantasma, and says, I suppose there's no harm in speaking of it here. It seemed like there was... These realms were created from a sliver of something greater.
Yeah, I couldn't quite put my hand on it, but she like looks to Daybreak and goes, "That was real. Everything in that universe was real. It wasn't like some illusion or playground, like I don't know, one of these like these computer games that people talk about. I've never played one really. But that was real. There were real people, the real worlds, it was all real."
That it doesn't seem to really bother Proteus, nor does he seem to particularly care about that part. But he does nod in agreement. And he says, what does that have to do with anything? You think the Vishanti care about the individuals?
Well, it's not that. It's just... Why use something real for this in such a strange way?
Well, clearly he was disappointed in that Stephen Strange fellow. I had a little bit of respect for the Ancient One, but his protege was a bit too lackadaisical.
Or maybe they really liked Doctor Strange and they wanted to find somebody similar to him, and this was the way they came up with it.
What? He looks at that. How do you figure?
Maybe they're changing the way they look for something because Doctor Strange changed their minds.
Clearly they thought he was no good because I do.
She goes,
Once again, there's another really quaint Earth saying. Oh, shut the hell up.
She like interrupts going, "Well, thank you for your insight. I've obviously got still more studying to do even at my level. Come on, Daybreak, let's keep watching." She like tries to take Daybreak away.
Daybreak decides she wants to go start pulling the numbers. She wants to bookie the rest of the tournament.
Nobody is going to gamble with you.
I'm kidding.
You make your way off to the side. Proteus is just stumbling, liked Doctor Strange. I mean, well, I guess since they're not just looking for somebody who was powerful, he wasn't the best of us. I mean, you hear him mutter as you walk away.
So Daybreak, there was some other weird things I noticed. Whenever I tried to form a shield around the dimension, it felt like the Vishanti were purposely breaking it.
The Vishanti were?
Yes.
They did not break the shield that you made, but they broke the shield they made around your world.
It felt like they were weakening my shield that I was putting around, so they couldn't do that as what happened last time. So
they were preventing you from going defensive. Maybe they were looking for more offensive technique.
Like that, it felt like what I was doing was against the point of this challenge.
I think that the whole challenge itself, I don't think we've actually gotten to the real challenge yet. I don't think that what we're doing right now, or what we have been doing, or what all the rest of us have been doing, I don't think that's the point. I think the point is something coming up on the horizon. But what do I know?
I can feel it now. We could leave and go home right now. So we do kind of have an exit door here if we want now.
We do, but don't you kind of want to stick around and see what happens?
No, I have to see what happens. She says, very quickly.
Yeah. So, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I think your instincts are spot on that something really, really, really weird is going on.
There was one other thing. I tried experimenting with something, Daybreak, while you were busy on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of something called the Nova Force?
No.
Okay, so this happened to me one time. It was very strange, but basically, Eternity, who we were kind of
no, you're
acting...
thinking of the Captain Universe power. Nova Force is the people that wear the helmets.
Yeah, get my things mixed up. The Enigma Force, that was it.
Enigma Force, there it is.
Close enough.
Still haven't heard of them. Stop.
Well, you did. You had Enigma Force powers.
Yeah, and she goes on to explain. Basically,
in
our universe,
it was
our Eternity,
Pangea, Delilah, and Dialectic.
Yeah, our Eternity is actually able to give powers to people, and they are crazy powers.
Okay.
Like, I could have probably accidentally destroyed the planet. It was kind of scary. And I tried to recreate it in our universe.
Okay.
But I couldn't do it. It's like there wasn't enough power there to do it. I don't know what that means. Even though that place was definitely real, so technically, I think I should have been able to do it, but it didn't quite work for some reason, and that's bothering me.
Maybe the Vishanti they already know who they want, and they're kind of edging it that direction?
No. It didn't feel like someone was interfering. It felt like it wasn't possible with the universe.
Okay.
Even though everything else is.
Huh. So what if it's something wrong?
Roll intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, so 54, my intuition is good. So agreed.
You feel odd. You get this weird feeling of observation, and you look around, and you feel like you feel a set of eyes on you as you're talking, and then you look around, but that's not what's bothering you. There feels like there's another person, and then it's gone.
You see Delilah kind of just suddenly turn around and kind of look around weirdly.
You okay?
Yeah, that was weird. Felt like someone was spying on me for a moment there. She looks over to see if Phantasma is still where she is.
Yeah, she's still there. Yeah, it felt like there was a set of eyes that was watching you. That wasn't uncomfortable. You felt like this sense of observation the whole time, but there was suddenly a new pair.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that was strange. But yeah, it makes me think that there is something else going on, but I don't know how that helps us, unfortunately. And frankly, looking around, it seems like some of the worst actors haven't lost yet.
But some of the best ones are still in. I mean, for all of his bravado and self-centered egotism, Aaron is still there, and
Yes.
I think he would be great. Or there are people that are still in that could do an amazing job. But like you said,
Aaron
the worst
is,
of the worst are still
Aaron
there
is
too.
one of the most powerful mages I've ever met. I'm confident that he can pull through this.
Yeah, and he's a good guy. He's a powerful wizard, and he just is legitimately a good guy.
I think he gets a little stubborn sometimes, but
yeah. But so now that we're here on this side,
As you guys are talking, you look back up, and there was one I forgot. There is an influx into Ankra's dimension of that kind of warps in. A portal opens in her dimension, which shocks all the surrounding mages. As like a stargate, it quickly like assembles itself outside of it, and then a large contingent of spaceships fly into her dimension. And then following behind it is Mago and Gadgeteer. And Mago's looking down at his hands. He's like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" As he's wearing like some sort of Iron Man suit of armor, and Gadgeteer like comes out in this like rocket ship looking thing, and they begin to assault Ankara while she goes like this, gestures, and sends the Hulk over to face down with them. And that fight, while you're watching her, you see that she like reaches into the portal that she opens up and starts to fish around for something, and you see her reach in and like start to grab a mass of like stars and space, and starts to try to pull it out when she is blasted by Mago, and a fight begins. The fight goes hard, and the Hulk is badly damaged. One of his arms ripped off, and Ankara gets scattered, but not before Gadgeteer is badly injured, and they retreat. Ankara is able to reassemble herself and looks at where her magics were, and it looks like she starts to just curse a lot. And that was actually the end of day 5, since we didn't do anything for them.
Pretty good.
Okay. So, we will, I think we'll call it there, I guess. Unless you guys want to leave. Yes? No?
I think I'd like to stick around. I'll stick around and see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as Delilah wants to.
What do you guys want to do then? Do you want to pick up again after the Sorcerer Supreme contest is over and do a little mini adventure? Since we're about 2 hours in, we could take a short break, start again, or do you want to call it for the day?
I can go either way. I've got the rest of the afternoon, so.
I'm fine with calling it. I think in between the resolution of this, I think Delilah will turn to Daybreak and be like, on the off chance that this isn't, this is like only some earlier stage, or it is the final stage and we do get our Sorcerer Supreme, since all of these, she like looks around, all these other great mages are here, why don't we just talk to them and come to a decision if any certain individuals become the Sorcerer Supreme?
Sure. I'm always... Little cocktail hour sounds like fun.
Oh yes, Delilah will probably spend her bench time talking to the other sorcerers, being like, so, if someone like super evil wins, why don't we just, attack them immediately?
Dr. Druid seems... Do you talk to Dr. Druid?
She would do the rounds to everybody eventually.
So you get Magic and Colossus. They quickly agree to you. They're very angry right now because they lost, but they're on board with beating up whoever wins, especially if they're bad.
Especially if they're good, they're still going to do it anyway.
Colossus is not inclined that way, but Magic is thinking about it. Phantasma and Red Guardian, they agree easily. Proteus says, I don't know, talk to me later. Dr. Druid looks a bit afraid of that option as she looks at you again and looks up at the thing and seems very hesitant to talk to you. And then she says, what's your name, miss?
Oh, I'm Delilah.
She waits expectantly.
She's like, Delilah kind of looks a bit awkwardly. People don't normally ask her for her full name, but she goes, Delilah Wester.
Yeah, she kind of slinks back away from you, almost visibly intimidated, and says, whose side are you on? And she looks back up at the thing that's showing Ankrock continue to curse.
The side of order. Look, there are some really bad individuals up there that
She gives you an eye, and there are like some weird vines growing up the side of her neck, and she says, I saw what happened earlier.
Yes?
She just doesn't say anything else and keeps watching you. I know. She keeps her distance.
Oh, okay. Like, put off by that, she leaves Dr. Druid alone, not really sure what that was about.
You just got yourself a new arch nemesis, I bet.
Well, so, there's a little history to Dr. Druid, why Delilah doesn't know anything about her. So this Dr. Druid is the new inheritor from the previous Dr. Druid. So she's new on the block. Way back. We're talking way back, like Wither and time, all that time. Ankra picked her up and made her her forced apprentice.
Oh, I remember that from the yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there you go. Daybreak read all the stories. I mean, Rebecca did.
Yeah, I needed it for my research for the book. I remember that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I could see there being a little bit of tension.
Well, and I would also point out that she was also knocked out of the fight when when there were some eyeball issues that popped up on Delilah's face.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. We'll pause there. Or end the recording, at least.